Hear from a couple of the integrated care partnerships who are implementing Oliver's training in their own areas. We hope that this will give us some ideas about how we can successfully roll out Oliver's training across the whole of England. First, I would like to introduce Wendy Scott, Associate Director of Nursing, Learning Disabilities and Autism for Suffolk and North East Essex.
Hello everybody, my name is Wendy Scott and I am the Associate Director of Nursing for Learning Disabilities and Autism, and I work in Suffolk and North East Essex Integrated Care Board. Now if you don't know where that is, that's Clacton, Felixstowe, Bury St Edmunds and Ipswich Town. We've just been promoted and we won our first game yesterday, so we're tad excited in our area. Okay, so my job is to lead on the commissioning of specialist health services. I've been told I'm moving and I can't ever stand still. So, specialist health services for people with a learning disability and or autism. So I lead on health inequalities, and whether that be reducing resilience on inpatient care, or whether that be looking at people's experience of accessing good quality healthcare across our system. So what we hope is that we'll reduce health inequalities and that we'll be making sure that people with learning disability and autism receive good quality care. So within my job, I'm responsible for the Learning from Lives and Deaths programme, so the LEADER programme. Remember that, that's important in a bit. Next slide please. So in everything we do, whether it be LEADER, whether it be implementing the Oliver McGowan Mandatory Training within our local system, whether it's anything at all, whether it's the cancer pathway, whether it's about dentists coming into the commissioning of our health services, we always talk to people in our communities. Ask, listen, do. Co-production, person's experience is absolutely key to any success of anything we want to deliver, which is why it fits in so nicely my job with the Oliver McGowan Mandatory Training. Because for most integrated care boards, the job of rolling out into the Oliver McGowan Mandatory Training sat within workforce, whereas I sit in nursing. Sorry, next slide please. So, I've spoken to nearly every single health and social care provider in Suffolk and North East Essex. I have told as many people as I can possibly tell about the importance of this training. And I know that it's called the Oliver McGowan Mandatory Training, and I know that there's terrible, tragic circumstances what happened to Oliver, but I bring in every conversation on local learning. So I bring in, what did our Learning from Lives and Deaths report tell us last year? What did it tell us this year? What happened in the last month in Suffolk? Every single time, because it's meaningful to those people I'm trying to influence. This happened in your trust. This is what people with a learning disability or autism have told us about their experiences of accessing health services, the quality of their annual health check, the quality of the health action plan. Next slide please. So we have had monthly implementation and steering groups, and I have attended lots and lots and lots of board meetings. I've even written the board papers for some of our providers. And I turn up, and some of these conversations haven't been easy at all. But I say, don't tell me what you can't do. That's not really helpful. What can you do? Can you get it in the newsletter? Can you get it so people have access to the e-learning? Can you just tell me how many people you think will need Tier 1? How many people think you need 2? I will help you map it. I will help you work out how long we think this will take to deliver in your organisation. Do we start with new starters? How many new starters have you got coming in? Because most health and social care organisations have got a flow through of work all the time. There's new starters coming all the while. Why don't we start there? lots of ideas. So co-production partners have helped us. So our experts with our experience and our co-production partners have also helped us talk to our health and social care colleagues about the importance of the training. And they couldn't be here with me today, but they have done a video which I'm going to show you at the end. And we spent a lot of time talking about how to employ people with a learning disability or people with autism, because a significant number in our society, in our community in Suffolk, are actually Care Act eligible, and we don't want to compromise that. But we do know that it's possible, because we do it already. So we've just been giving some advice about how to do that. Next slide, please. So the Suffolk and North East Essex Integrated Care Board have put a contract in place through an advocacy service called ACE Angler, and we already employ peer educators to deliver annual health check awareness and raising awareness of them. And these people will be our experts with experience, well they already are our experts with experience. So that if organisations don't feel comfortable employing people directly, they can use our contract and we can employ them through there. That means we've now got a pool of experts with experience across Suffolk and North East Essex for both Tier 1 and Tier 2 that can work across our system. And one of the requirements being able to use the pool is that actually those lead trainers or the trainers meet and greet and have a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, and everyone's developed their person profile. So they get to know me, it's all in place to make sure that people are confident and comfortable. We've done a lot of videoing of environments, so hospitals, so that our experts with experience are prepared about where they may be going, what will it look like. Next slide, please. So every other month, we are currently holding 12 places for the lead trainer, or the trainer. And we have had 2, and we've got another 2 booked every other month. So in total, we've got probably about 30 to 40 organisations who are actually now Tier 2 trained to deliver in their organisation. Really exciting is that part of my job at the moment is to die well, and that's part of the Live Well, Die Well campaign. And actually, so we've got hospice staff coming to be trainers in the Golden Gown, which I think is absolutely fantastic. I'm very excited about hospice. We've trained the Tier 1 trios, and by September we will have 6 sets of Tier 1 trios for our system, and we've trained a number of Tier 2 expert with experiences, lead trainers, and we hope that we'll have about 6 of those by about October, November. That's taken us slightly longer. That's fine, that's what we need to do, so we've had to actually take our time with those. It's a marathon, not a race, not a sprint. Next slide, please. So, I know you've all got the t-shirts. I think we started the trend, I just have to say. So, even though it's been hard, we've had a lot of fun. So we had our t-shirts made, and it says on the front, and on the back it says, ask me about Oliver McGowan. And we had cards made, and so we've been out and about, and we've been handing out the cards, and we went to a big health and care expose in Suffolk and North East Essex, and we did this here, and there's loads of important people about, and we're giving out our cards, and it had my email address on there, so please contact me when it's launched, leading up, blah, 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 blah. And then I went on holiday, and then I came back, and I can't tell you how many emails I had, it was ridiculous, wading through treacle. So we've had a lot of fun. And then, our next slide please, we've even had, so at the very end is Dr. Ed Garrett, who is the CEO of the ICB, and next to Ed is Lisa Knowles, the chief nurse who I report to, and then there's all of us all delivering it. So we've had lots of people generating a lot of conversation. And obviously, I'm known for being a bit pushy and getting people to wear a t-shirt. It wasn't easy, but we got there. Next slide, please. So, like I said, our experts with experience couldn't be here today. It was a bit of a step too far to travel to London for us, and that's absolutely fine. I asked if we could make a video because I wanted to share with you their experience of the Oliver McGowan and what it means to them. So this is Matt and Gemma, and Nikki is a facilitator, so we've decided to use a facilitator to support our people to be successful.
What was the webinar training like for you?
It was interesting and a lot to take and a lot to take in and process. And I feel like that I've learned quite a bit from doing this, working out other people if it happens to them in the future.
Been quite a long while ago, but I do remember it was quite a long one, since it was 4 hours. But I do remember hearing later in the time that the feedback that they received of how long it was, that they aimed to shrink it down into more digestible bites, as it would be said.
What does it mean to you to have done the webinar training to be able to deliver that to other people?
It makes me feel really important and that I can help other people as well as help myself if that happens, and I can help other people that's doing the same training as me.
I feel it's feeling like I'm making a change in for the better. The change in the healthcare services for the better for people with learning disabilities and autism.
The Tier 2 training, what was that those training days like?
They were good, but some of it could be a little bit emotional, and it's as to what's going on, so we can understand why someone to get emotional, so then we can adjust it and sort it out.
Yeah, it was quite an eye-opener seeing those videos, and there was a lot of information in both the days.
And what does it mean to you to have done the Tier 2 training?
It makes me feel very proud of myself that I've achieved something that I didn't think I'd ever achieved in my life. Because I feel like, because I've got disability, I feel like that I can't achieve as much as most people. I feel like that sometimes that I feel like I don't know what in myself, I feel like I'm a failure at times. Because my disability, I feel like that gets in the way of life, but then I've realised now I've done this, that it actually doesn't.
Everyone with autism is different, same with learning disabilities, and it allowed me to see myself in a much better light than in the past and understand who I am.
The Oliver McGowan training will give people a better understanding of people with a learning disability and autistic people, and have a bit more empathy and a bit more patience, and to really stop and think about what that people are saying and what people are doing when it comes to health, so that real changes can happen, because everyone has a right to good health care, and we think that this is one of those positive steps forward.
This film was co-produced by staff at Ace Anglia and colleagues from NHS Suffolk and North East Essex. For more information, contact info@aceanglia.com.
Great. So when we've done the training, we've had to provide quite a lot of care and support, because actually it has been quite distressing for our experts with experience to hear what happened. But also, when you go through the training with them and you start talking about what is the learning disability, what is autism, no one's actually ever sat with them and done that previously. So it's about self-actualisation, the realisation of who I am and where I am in the world. But it's so worth it, so worth it. It's worth the time, it's worth the energy. And if anybody says to you, we haven't got time, or we haven't got the right money, no one took any of my work away. Doing the right thing isn't always about money, it's about, make time. Prioritise your workload. Is it for me? Yes, please.
Wait, come here. So I just want to say, I think we need to bottle Wendy or clone her. I don't know how to make you before. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I mean, just amazing.
Well, it's all right.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
very lucky. I have a job I absolutely love, and I'm very very lucky I work in an organisation that gives me a job I really, really love. So,
Just amazing,
I'm
but
very
thank you
lucky.
so much, and lots to learn, I think, over lunch, because we're probably running out of our 10 minutes to talk, take it on.
Sorry.
No, that was important. Find Wendy, talk to her, and if you've got any questions, do make sure you make a note of them, and we can pick them up later. But thank you again, a massive, really, let's get our arms up there, so thank you.
Team.
So I think we are going to play the animation really quickly, and then I think Sean will introduce the second partnership. But if we just have the animation, this animation was put together again, it's co-produced, put together with a team of people. It has been released, some of you may have seen it already, but we think it is an amazing animation, so I'm not going to say any more. I'm just going to let it play and speak for itself.
Across health and care, an overwhelming number of staff are dedicated to working together to ensure everyone receives the best possible quality of care according to their needs. And it's recognised that we do incredible work saving and improving lives. But there are times when things go wrong. And when this happens, it's vital that we reflect, update our knowledge and do better.
In 2016, Oliver McGowan died following a severe reaction to antipsychotic medication. When given this medication, he wasn't mentally ill. He was, as an autistic person with a learning disability, reacting to an overwhelming and highly stressful situation.
An independent learning disability and mortality review found that the procedures that were followed didn't work for him and that his death was avoidable.
The reviewers found that key warnings from Oliver, his medical notes, and his family were ignored.
And that if staff had a better understanding of autism and learning disability, they could have made some simple, reasonable adjustments to his care, which could have saved his life.
Oliver was 18 years old.
His was one of many hundreds of premature deaths of people with a learning disability and autistic people that happen every year.
This doesn't include unreported deaths, near misses, or the trauma of misdiagnosis over medication, unnecessary restraint and exclusion, which autistic people and people with a learning disability face every day.
The Health and Care Act now states that regulated service providers must make sure that all health and care staff have appropriate learning disability and autism training.
The Oliver McGowan mandatory training on learning disability and autism is the government's preferred and recommended training.
It has been designed to help employers meet their legal duties. It is nationally recognised, transferable from employer to employer, and represents the standards for the code of practice.
At its core is the principle of nothing about us without us. So it has been co-developed, co-trialed and evaluated, and is co-delivered by autistic people and people with a learning disability who are paid for their time.
Far more than a box-ticking exercise, Oliver's training represents the vital first step on an important journey towards getting things right for people the first time.
And creating a culture where everyone is listened to, respected and cared for in a way that works for them.
While there are tragedies in our past that we can never put right, by moving forward with learning, we can do our best to make sure they're playing no part in our future.
We all have the ability to make a difference.
In changing culture, hearts and minds. So,
whatever your role,
We need you to take action now.
by committing to and completing the Oliver McGowan mandatory training on learning disability and autism.
I'd now like to welcome Paul Clark, who's an Oliver McGowan co-trainer, Louise Kirby, who's autism lead, and Vicky Morgan, who's Oliver McGowan lead trainer. They are all working to roll out Oliver's training across Northamptonshire's Integrated Care Partnership.
Hello everybody. We're delighted and honoured to be here to talk about what we've been up to in Northamptonshire. I'm Louise Kirby. I work for NHFT, but I'm one of the leads for the rollout of Oliver's training across the county. I'm going to let my colleagues and friends introduce themselves because I think they'll do a better job.
My name's Paul Clark and I'm a lived experience with autism and learning disability.
I'm Vicky Morgan. I'm a Learning and Development Advisor at Northamptonshire Council and the lead Oliver McGowan trainer for Northamptonshire.
Got a bit of a dance going on
Yeah.
here. Into the microphone. Next slide. Oh, thank you. So the beginning, right from the start, Northamptonshire wanted to take a county-wide approach. We felt that by working together was the way that it would make it work, that the Oliver McGowan training could be rolled out across the county. We were in a good position because we have the Autism Champion Network already. And that's a cross-organisational group of professionals who work in supporting autistic people, also people who support autistic people and a learning disability. So there's lots of professionals there, all keen to improve experience for autistic people. And crucially and importantly, in this network are autistic people themselves, because we know that the lived experience knowledge is as important, if not more important, in increasing professionals' knowledge. And people in the network have said that already, that they come and they watch a presentation, but it's the interaction with autistic people that really makes a difference outside the clinical to understand what it is to be autistic. We wanted to get on with it, so our approach was called flying the aeroplane whilst building it. So we went ahead and we recruited experts with lived experience from our network, and what we asked was if they could tell us why they would like to be a trainer, and that could be, they could email a few words, they could talk to a trusted person who could scribe for them, they could do an audio or a video, use their preferred communication method to let us know why they'd like to be a trainer. And then we did a little interview, which wasn't supposed to be nerve-wracking, it was supposed to be really friendly, and for that we sent the information in advance, what question was going to be asked, how the structure of it, how long you had for each bit, and as well as the 3 questions, we asked, it very importantly says micro-teach up there, but what we asked is, could you tell us how to make a cup of tea? Because we wanted people to feel happy that this is something that they would like to do, tell people things, and that yeah, I think that was it really. Are they happy to do that? Some people don't drink tea, so we learned about how to make coffee, we learned how to make a wrap, and it was a really good experience from my part anyway. Paul might tell you differently. So we got our experts by experience together. We asked the
organisations to contribute a facilitator trainer. So from NHFT we have trainers, Northamptonshire County Council, West and North have trainers, and because we weren't quite sure about the funding and the money, we weren't quite sure if we'd be able to commission somebody, and we, as I say, we wanted to get on with it, and we wanted it to work for the future. Anything else I need to say? No, I don't think so. I think the working together was the important bit.
Yeah.
I'll hand over to Vicky.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a bit more about how we moved the training on. So we started looking at the Tier 1 because that's the training that was available first. We had 3 Tier 1 trios trained during January to March, and they were signed off between March and June, so we were able to start delivering Tier 1. We had a further internal Tier 1 trainer course in June, and we've got 2 more trios awaiting sign off from that, so they're just doing their practices now. Then we moved on, so obviously I had my lead trainer training in February and March, so I think most of the people involved in that are in this room, all the people that trained me. From that I went on and trained 5 autistic co-trainers during May. I trained 2 learning disability co-trainers in May and 7 facilitating trainers in June. And then we moved to rolling out the trainers. So within Northamptonshire, we've run 2 Tier 1 webinars and trained 28 people so far. We've got another webinar planned for Friday with another 25 people booked on it, and dates running from now until December. We've also run 3 Tier 2 training days and trained 40 people so far. So we're still early days in our rollout, but we are kind of building, and again we've got dates arranged for that from now until December. There's also Tier 1 webinars planned within other parts of the ICB. So we've got the West Northamptonshire Council, Northamptonshire Healthcare Foundation Trust, and the Northamptonshire Integrated Care Board. Okay. And then we've got some what next. So we're working with primary care. I'm planning 2 days, aren't we, Liz?
Yeah. We're very happy and excited to have got the GPs and the surgeries on board, and we are hiring a conference centre for 2 afternoons. They're going to use their protected learning time, and like a place with lots of separate rooms, so the trainers can be in different rooms and we can train lots of people all at once. That's the plan.
Yeah.
September and November.
Yeah, so to keep the numbers and the interactions in the rooms slow and low, that means that we can still roll out to lots and lots of people. And we'll be running another trainer for both the autistic adults and adults with a learning disability in the next few months. And we would like to run mixed sessions across health and social care. So at the moment we're very much working within our own organisations, but we're hoping to be able to mix a bit more going forward as the other organisations are ready to receive the training. We'd also like to increase the diversity of our trainers and co-trainers. So we're also looking to recruit more people with a learning disability to be co-trainers. So that's our smallest pool at the moment of co-trainers. And we're looking to recruit more facilitating trainers from the other parts of the organisations. So our successes, we've got big enthusiasm for the project within Northamptonshire and across the integrated care system. So we've got lots of partners who are really engaged and really want the training. We've got training sessions are being planned across the system, and we've had positive feedback on the training. So we've got some quotes up there. We've got very informative, given me greater knowledge, very good training, which gave time to interact and ask questions. Felt this was very valuable training and very interesting for me in my role to support in the community, and to have a better understanding now of the disability and how it affects the customers we support. So they're some of the feedback we've had so far from the training. We've also had some challenges and learns along the way. So we were quite slow to start, so obviously we recruited quite a lot of people during January, and because of the slow start we found that some of the co-trainers moved on. So we've got more pace now, so we're hoping that our co-trainers will be more engaged. We've had issues finding people with a learning disability to become co-trainers. So obviously we had this massive pool of autistic people ready to go, but a smaller pool of people with a learning disability. So we've been making as many contacts as possible, speaking to lots of people. And we're also looking at making a recruitment leaflet to help people understand what the training is all about. We've got other organisations, we found that other organisations find it more difficult to release their facilitators, so that's been a bit of a blocker for some of the organisations. So we're offering support and encouragement to try and encourage them that it's really important. And obviously employing people and not interacting with their benefits, so making sure that people are staying within their benefit levels. Okay, so again, remember, we've been getting advice to help that with that. So I'm going to hand you over to Paul. That's it.
So as I said, my name's Paul Clark. My involvement in getting onto the project for Oliver was a community group set up called Get On Board to improve lives of people with learning disabilities and autistic people. I thought the project looked interesting and well within my other roles. I researched about Oliver's story and decided I would like to get involved. When I was at the interview, why it was nerve-wracking because I hadn't had an interview for a little while. So I was a bit nervous. I had 3 questions to answer about why I wanted to be involved, how I would handle a difficult person on training, and how I would support others in the team. I got these in advance and had to talk about making a cup of tea. Everything when interviewing was nicely. When I met my trio on the Tier 1 trainer course, because at the time we didn't meet in advance, so I met Vicky and Megan, who's no longer got lived experience at NHS training room. Half an hour before the course started. If we hadn't had more time, it would have been good to have met in advance, but we managed to make it work throughout the meeting. So the project became slow to start. We met every couple of weeks to share the Tier 1 script and plan our webinar. Our webinar finally happened on the 27th of March. We had a bit of a break and ran some more webinars in May. We completed the Tier 2 trainer courses. As I have a learning disability and autism, I was able to undertake both the trainer courses and I approved to deliver both. The learning disability and autism parts of Tier 2. Although it has been agreed that this wouldn't be on the same day. I've delivered both Tier 1 and Tier 2 training. Tier 1 was more difficult to deliver as the participants can be quieter, less likely to talk than on the Tier 2. They are a lot more chattier when I ask them no questions. We have set out more dates to deliver over the next 4 months. I'm looking forward to delivering the training going forward as it feels like I am making a difference and giving a different appreciation of all the different types of people and how they live. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. I'll just quickly say that our plane is off the ground. A bit wobbly, unexpected turbulence, things have dropped off, but working together, which is so amazing. We are determined to soar, and Oliver McGowan Training delivered to all health and social care and beyond in Northamptonshire. And it's lovely to be working all together. That's good.
Thank you. So before you sit down, just thank you so much again. Amazing. I mean, I just can't believe all this is happening. I don't know what is happening. It's just really, really amazing. Thank you so much. And Paul and I have a saying that we always said that from a film, one of my very favourite films with Kevin Costner, Field of Dreams, we always said, build it and they will come. And so we like all these sorts of sayings. So we've had, you do it the way that you do it. We've now got building the plane while it's taking off and build it, they will come. So thank you so, so much.